It was 2 days after Christmas. A 9-year-old girl vanished without a trace. The case would grip an entire nation, a mother's desperate pleas flooding every news station. Investigators combed through the streets of Long Island, questioning neighbors, searching parks, and combing through every detail of the last place she was seen. But as hours turned into days and days into weeks, hope began to fade. Then, out of nowhere, an unexpected confession changed everything. The horrifying truth was revealed. Katie wasn't just missing. She was being held captive underground, trapped in a soundproof bunker, buried beneath the home of a man she trusted. And what makes this story even more terrifying, her kidnapping was not the beginning of her suffering. It was only a continuation of the horrors she had already endured. Today we take you deep into the twisted case of Katie Beers. From years of hidden abuse to one of the most shocking kidnappings in modern history, this is a story of unimaginable darkness, but also a story of survival, resilience, and justice. This is Secrets in the Shadows, and today we bring you the story of Katie Beers. To understand how Katie Beers became the center of one of the most infamous kidnapping cases in U.S. history, we need to go back to where it all started. Long before she vanished, before the world knew her name, Katie was just a little girl trapped in a cycle of neglect and abuse. Katie Beers was born on December 30th, 1982, in Long Island, New York. From the very beginning, her life was difficult. Her mother, Marilyn Beers, struggled to provide stability for her and her half-brother John. Marilyn worked multiple jobs, including as a cab driver, leaving her with little time to care for her children. Unable to handle the responsibilities of raising them on her own, she often left them in the care of their godmother, Linda Inghilleri, and her husband, Salvatore. Marilyn believed that by leaving her children with Linda, they would be in good hands, but she was unaware of the nightmare that was unfolding behind closed doors. Linda and Salvatore met in the late 1970s. Salvatore, an older man with a controlling nature, quickly took charge of Linda's life. When Marilyn needed help with childcare, Linda stepped in, offering to watch Katie and her brother. But instead of providing a safe environment, the Inghilleris turned Katie's life into a living hell. Salvatore was an abusive and dangerous man. From the time Katie was just 2 years old, she endured horrific mistreatment at his hands. Forced into labor, she was made to clean, cook, and serve her godmother's household. But worse than the physical labor was the sexual abuse. When Katie was 7, she tried to confide in Linda about Salvatore's abuse. Instead of protecting her, Linda called her a liar and dismissed her. Katie wasn't allowed to attend school regularly, further isolating her. She grew up with no real childhood, surrounded by people who saw her as an object rather than a little girl. But amidst all this, she found solace in one person, John Esposito, a family friend. Esposito was always around, offering gifts and attention. To an isolated and abused child like Katie, he seemed like a safe place, someone who cared. But in reality, his kindness was a carefully crafted trap. On December 28, 1992, 2 days before Katie's 10th birthday, Esposito offered to take her to Spaceplex, her favorite arcade. It was supposed to be a fun day out, but it was all part of his sinister plan. Instead of returning her home, he took her to his property, where he had spent years building an underground bunker. This wasn't an impulsive crime. Esposito had been planning this for years, creating a hidden chamber beneath his garage, complete with a locking mechanism, soundproof walls, and a ventilation system. He lured Katie into his house, locked the door behind her, and dragged her into a hidden closet. Behind the walls was a tunnel leading to the dungeon he had built just for her. A 200-pound concrete slab sealed the entrance. Inside was a small mattress, a television, and a bucket for her basic needs. She had just entered her worst nightmare. For 17 days, Katie was locked away, trapped in complete darkness, hearing nothing but the muffled sounds above her. But even in captivity, she refused to give up. She knew she had to survive. Esposito kept a strict watch over her, feeding her junk food and forcing her to endure his sick fantasies. He made her watch news reports about herself, including her mother's desperate pleas for her return. It was through these reports that Katie learned that police were closing in on Esposito. She also learned how to manipulate him. Katie began playing into his ego. She acted as though she trusted him, as though she needed him. She asked him questions about their future, making him believe that she was starting to accept her fate. She made him think she was getting sick, that she might die in his bunker. If she died, he would have no way to explain it. Meanwhile, the FBI analyzed a recorded message left on Linda's answering machine, realizing that there were no background noises. This led them to suspect the message had been pre-recorded and played through a payphone, making the case even more difficult. Psychics, media campaigns, and even America's Most Wanted featured Katie's disappearance, but no breakthrough came. Investigators were running out of time. And then she made her final move. She told Esposito that he had no choice. He had to confess. If he did, maybe the police would go easy on him. Maybe things wouldn't be so bad. Desperate and broken, Esposito took the bait. On January 13, 1993, John Esposito walked into a police station and made a stunning confession. He told investigators that he knew where Katie Beers was. When police arrived at his home, he led them through a complex series of steps, moving bookshelves, peeling back floorboards, and hoisting up the heavy concrete slab. When officers finally reached the dungeon, they expected the worst, but against all odds, Katie Beers was alive. She emerged from the darkness, weak but standing, proving once again that she was far stronger than her captor had ever imagined. After her rescue, Katie was placed in a loving foster home where she was given the care and support she had never known. Her foster parents shielded her from the media and helped her heal. They also took in her older brother, ensuring he too received the care he needed. In the months that followed, Katie had to face Esposito in court. Despite everything she had been through, she bravely testified against him, ensuring that justice would be served. With Esposito in custody, investigators dug deeper into Katie's past. What they uncovered was horrifying. Years of abuse at the hands of Salvatore Inghilleri. Not only was Esposito convicted of first-degree kidnapping, but Salvatore Inghilleri was also charged with sexual assault. He died in prison in 2009. Esposito was sentenced to 15 years to life. In 2013, he died in prison. Katie later wrote a book, Buried Memories, Katie Beers' Story, detailing her experience. Today, she is a mother, a wife, and an advocate for child safety. Despite the horrors she endured, Katie's resilience led her to reclaim her life. She now works to help abuse survivors and advocates for child safety. Thank you for watching Secrets in the Shadows. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. See you next time for another chilling case.